I was in high school when I decided I would start swimming competitively. Now, most of the people who swam competitively had been doing it most of their childhood. I had been involved in other sports and decided I just wanted to do something different. I was a junior in high school when I started swimming competitively. I still remember my very first practice. I went in, indoor pool. It had that kind of humid, wet smell, and that wet tile. Got to be very careful when you walk on it. Ow! Coach gathered us all at one end and gave us what I perceived to be a very demanding workout. He laid out the number of laps. He laid out some sprints and some longer time frame laps and just laid it all out, and we were expected to get that workout done. So I got in the pool, met a few of the guys. I knew a couple of them already, but we started swimming, and it was arduous. It was absolutely exhausting. I've done a lot of things, a lot of sports. Swimming was very, very exhausting. It's great exercise. Anyway, we were done. I was relieved. First one done, first practice is done. Looking forward to the next one. Coach comes out of his office. He had an office right over on the side of the pool, right next to the locker room. He came out with his clipboard and gave us the real workout. What I had just finished was the warm-up. So that feeling of relief was totally gone. I'm going to share with you how that could apply to your contract situation right now, so stay tuned. Hi, Stuart Sutton at Agent Finder, where we combine artificial intelligence and human expertise to identify the best agents for your specific home or purchase. As I've talked about on other videos, when you receive a contract, you have 3 options. Those options are to accept it. If all the terms are the way you want, accept it. If you don't like it at all, reject it. I've talked about why that might not be the best idea, even if it's a terrible offer. I've taken terrible offers and turned them into good, agreeable contracts. Third, you can counter. So you can propose different terms back to the buyer. Accept, reject, counter. When you negotiate, you reach an agreement, now you're under contract. And you have that feeling of relief. We're under contract. This is so exciting. But that's kind of like me finishing my warm-up and being relieved it's not over yet. You're going to enter into a second negotiation. The buyer's going to have their inspection. Now, if you're a buyer watching, just think about it in those terms. But buyer's going to have their inspection, and the inspector's going to point out some things to them. They're probably going to have some concerns about issues, depending on how well prepared you are. If you watch my videos on being prepared, there may be very little to even address or think about for the buyer. But they'll come back sometimes with what's called an amendment, and that amendment will include some things they want you to address. Here is what you need to keep in mind. Always get that in writing. Always see proof. So if they make a repair request for something to do with the air conditioner, you want to see what the inspector wrote about the air conditioner. You want to see proof, and you want to see it in writing. And next, always get your own bids. The reason that I recommend that is because I've seen too many times where a buyer asked for a repair that wasn't needed. But they didn't think that the listing agent would go back and ask for proof that that repair was needed. They just asked for it thinking they would get it. So get proof that the repair was written up by the inspector and identify that that repair is a valid one. You'll also want to get your own bid if the repair that is requested is more than nominal. In other words, for a few $100 here and there, you might go, yeah, we'll take care of it, and we'll convey the money and closing costs. But if it's substantial, you're going to want a second opinion. And even if that means extending your option period a little bit, you want to have service people who you can depend on, who you can trust, available, and who know. And if you don't have them, your agent should have them. But service people who will come in, give you a valid, trustworthy assessment. I can't tell you how many times I have had the assessment by the buyer's expert, who was someone either the agent worked with or the buyer knew, or maybe it was someone random they called off Angie's List. I've actually seen that before. Come in and give a very high bid, and then our expert comes in and says, gosh, you don't really need all that. You only need this. I'll give you some examples. I've seen air conditioning bids from $12,000 come down to literally $1,200. I've seen septic repair bids come from $30,000 to $850, or $6,000 down to $1,100. I've seen it all. So you need to verify that these repairs that are being requested are made. Now, even if you show them that those aren't needed, sometimes the buyer will stick with their expert or the inspector, and they will want that repair made. And then you have to make a decision about how you're going to deal with that with your agent, of course. But always have your service people or your agent have dependable, trustworthy service people that you can bring out for that second opinion. Here are two real big ones I want to make you aware of. These are rules I follow, and you should too. Always include a roofer, always include an engineer. What do I mean by that? Well, if the inspector says you have a roof that needs to be replaced, and it probably has hail damage, so you ought to call your insurance adjuster. Well, you call your insurance company, they make an appointment, send out the adjuster. Never, ever, ever, let me add two more evers, ever let an insurance adjuster look at your roof unless your roofer is there.
Yeah.
Now, maybe your roofer, maybe your agent's roofer. I've got a roofer who I trust implicitly, have used for many years, and no insurance company ever looks at one of my roofs without my roofer there. He has more than once, even in the last year, forced the insurance adjuster's hand by identifying hail damage, taking pictures, and showing them. Insurance adjusters, some of them are, yes, absolutely fair. Some of them follow company policy, which doesn't seem to be real fair. I had one insurance company who said that is just blistering, it's not hail damage. Well, my roofer said that type of shingle is made in a specific way and it doesn't blister. We then got the insurance company to go ahead and pay for the roof. So that's why you need a very good, experienced, trusted roofer. The next thing is always have an engineer involved if foundation issues are considered a problem. Now, a foundation company will come out. If they say no problem, that's great. But if a foundation company comes out and says, oh, geez, you need this work done, don't just take that for granted. They want work.
Yeah!
Now, am I questioning their integrity? Of course not. But if it's close, they may recommend that you have work, whereas an engineer would not recommend that you have work. And again, this isn't a one-time thing. I've had situations where the foundation company recommended work, but the engineer said, no, this foundation was in tolerance and everything is fine. Foundation work can be very expensive. So always make sure that an engineer verifies whether that foundation has any problems or not. Hope that makes sense. Those are two very, very important rules that I follow, along with the one about the service people and the extra bids beyond what the other parties have given you. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that was helpful. Put up another video up for you. I hope this one is helpful, and I hope the next one is helpful too. We try to point out things you may not have heard before, and I believe this video is going to do exactly that. So I hope you get a chance to watch it. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Hope to see you on the next video.